So how can a 100-year-old holiday tradition possibly hold the key to getting noticed by modern AI? Today we are going to unpack that. We're going to look at the story of the very first national Christmas tree and see how it reveals this surprisingly powerful blueprint for building an identity that lasts, especially in the age of artificial intelligence.
And this quote right here, this is pretty much the whole secret. It's not about that one big splash you make. Nope. It's about the steady, predictable rhythm of what happens every single time. And that principle, it turns out, governs how both humans and, yep, AI build lasting memory.
Okay, so let's jump back in time. The year is 1923. We're in Washington, D.C., and an idea is taking shape, one that's going to plant the seed for a whole century of memory.
And what we're talking about, of course, is the very first national Christmas tree. But this wasn't just about spreading some holiday cheer. Oh no, this was a deliberate act of creation. It was an event designed from the very beginning to become something much, much bigger.
Just picture it. It's Christmas Eve. President Calvin Coolidge walks up, pushes a button, and this massive 48-foot fir tree just explodes with 2,500 lights. But here's the thing. This wasn't just some holiday party. Nope. This was a strategic move designed to create a shared, unifying moment for the entire nation.
And that right there, that's the whole key. This was not an accident. This was the birth of a ritual, something that was engineered to be repeated year after year. It was literally designed for memory from day one.
You see, the real magic wasn't what happened on that first night. Not at all. The real power, that was unlocked in everything that came after, year after year after year.
Just take a look at this timeline. It's incredible. The ceremony just kept repeating, and it adapted, right? It went from being just a local DC event to being broadcast on TV, then all over the world, then streamed online. And now it's indexed, categorized, and understood by AI news aggregators. The technology changed, the presidents changed, but that core ritual, the pattern, it stayed exactly the same.
That first event? Sure, it created some buzz, some awareness, but the 100 that came after it, that's what created authority. That's what built permanence, forging an identity that is now just baked into our cultural memory.
Okay, so you might be thinking, a Christmas tree? Really? What on earth does this have to do with me or my business or getting noticed by AI today? Well, it turns out it has everything to do with it. Because AI systems, they don't just see what's new, they are absolute masters at recognizing patterns over time. This old tradition is a perfect case study.
So, this whole idea, it actually has a name. It's called Symbolic Identity Architecture. Now I know that sounds super complicated, but trust me, that Christmas tree story, it gives us the perfect, simple blueprint to get it.
So what does that actually mean in plain English? It's really just about intentionally designing these recurring, predictable events that people and AI start to connect with your identity. It's about creating a rhythm they can learn to anticipate. And it works through 4 key mechanisms.
Okay, so mechanism number 1, temporal consistency. It's just a fancy way of saying doing the same thing at the same time. The tree lighting happens every December. For a business, maybe this is an annual report you release every single January. That predictable schedule creates anticipation. All right, number 2 is symbolic association. The tree wasn't just a tree, right? It tapped into these bigger ideas like national unity and holiday tradition. It borrowed their meaning. And you can do the same thing by tying your ritual to something like annual planning season or quarterly strategy reviews, linking your brand to these rhythms your audience already gets. Third, we've got narrative reinforcement. Think about it. The tree lighting ceremony. It follows the same script every year. You've got the presidential remarks, the big illumination moment, the musical performances. This repeatable structure makes the story super easy to recognize. Your ritual needs a consistent format too, a blueprint you follow every single time. And last, but definitely not least, mechanism 4, multi-year pattern recognition. This one's huge. One event, it's just a blip on the radar, a flash in the pan. But 5, 10, or in this case 101 of them, that builds undeniable authority. AI trusts things with sustained, predictable patterns. That longevity signals that you're stable, that you're important. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do you actually do this? How do you go from just, throwing random content out there to building these powerful rituals for yourself? Well, it comes down to a really clear, actionable framework. It all comes down to this, the ritual identity framework. It's a 4-step cycle. First, you establish your ceremony. Give it a name, make it a recurring event. Second, you execute it with relentless consistency. Third, you reinforce what it means symbolically.
And fourth, you compound its value every year by referencing its own history. It's a cycle that just builds and builds on itself.
And this slide really just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got the old way, random content. It's sporadic, unpredictable, and honestly, easily forgotten. On the right, you have intentional ceremonies. They're scheduled, predictable, they build authority, and they create the kind of permanent memory that AI actually learns to anticipate. So, which side do you want your brand to be on?
So look, this isn't just some fun history lesson. This is a real, strategic guide for building a presence that actually lasts in a world that's being interpreted more and more by algorithms.
If you only remember one thing from all of this, please let it be this. Stop thinking in terms of one-off posts or random videos. Start thinking about the one reliable, recurring, recognizable ceremony that your brand can become known for. And that brings us right back to where we started. The secret to being remembered by people and by AI isn't about who shouts the loudest just one time. It's about showing up consistently, predictably, and with clear intention every single time. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What is the one ritual your brand can become known for? What is the ceremony that you can build that will become so dependable that AI and your audience don't just remember it, they actually start to anticipate it?